Good evening, everybody. My name is Ernesto Salguero. I belong to the Licenciatura en Lenguas Extranjeras con énfasis en Inglés career from the United. I am coursing my 6th semester, and this video is regarding the development of the activity the Tax 2 from the Language and Culture course, and I will be talking about the goals for teaching culture. Okay, so let's go into it. Okay, the index of the presentation is going to be composed by an introduction. The second point is going to be what is culture. The third point is going to be why it's important to teach culture in the language teaching process. The fourth point is going to be under which goals could we put the culture teaching success. The fourth point is going to be cues, techniques, elements, and strategies to develop culture teaching. And the last point is going to be the conclusion. Okay, let's go. So the introduction. Language learning is a complex process that involves different aspects from grammar to vocabulary to context, phonetics, meanings, syntax, and many other elements. These elements should be included when a person is interested in acquire a particular language. Therefore, they are important when we talk about teaching. These technical aspects of the language are very important to maintain a coherence and express ideas in a fluid and comprehensible way. But there is one element that is not possible to link from this learning and the teaching process, and that is culture. What is culture? Culture could be presented as a concept or group of concepts that represent the expression of humanity regarding their experiences in this reality, the relationship between them and nature, their thoughts, and other humans. So basically, we could say that culture is the specific software that is installed in a person, community, or country's mind. This culture defines customs, rules, habits in food, social interaction, social cues, beliefs, art, morals, laws, and different characteristics that compose the total human construction and outcomes that are the human behavior. Basically, culture is a human applying language to the reality. Why it is important to teach culture in the language teaching process? Okay, language goes beyond just the grammar, structure, and vocabulary. That's pretty simple to understand. There are internal levels or stages in which the words are used differently depending on the person or people we are speaking to. The time in which we are speaking, the current situation that surrounds the speech, and the level of trust that has been formed with the receptor or receptors. It is not the same to say "ya voy" and still not moving as to say "on my way." In a Latin American context, a person could interpret that as the person is going to take some time to go, and in a North American context, it means that the person will take less time and is close to arriving at the place. This little example offers a small view on how the culture and customs affect communication, and there are many other examples that even go beyond oral communication. In some cultures, it is well seen to give a hug to greet someone, while others accept just a bow and keeping distance as a respectful greet. Under which goals could we put the culture teaching success? Okay, I have several points here in which I divide all these concepts, so let's start by number one. Development of the understanding of culturally conditioned behaviors, the behaviors that are transformed because of the culture. Comprehension of the impacts of different variables such as age, social class, and place of residence. Third, awareness of usual behaviors in common situations in the target language. Fourth point, polish the understanding of generalizations present in the target language. Fifth point, consciousness of connotations, meanings, and uses and phrases and words in the target language according to the setting, and characters involved in certain situations or narratives. Number 6. Promote the stimulation of the curiosity for the target language and the will to enrich in different cultures. Okay, this is pretty important. There are many points more, but we are going to focus on this. Cues, techniques, elements. Okay, cues, techniques, elements, and strategies to develop culture teaching. When it comes to the practice, the execution of culture teaching, there are elements that need to be known before starting the actual process of culture teaching. We will need to define elements such as holidays, clothes, foods, work ethics, attitudes depending on the situation, national traits, race, gender, social class, beliefs, and many other characteristics. The communities within the culture, the products they do and they buy, and the perspectives. Considering these aspects, we will continue with the actual execution strategies to make the culture teaching. Okay, first, create an authentic environment strategy like going to the pharmacy, going to the supermarket, using transportation, public transportation, and asking for directions, among other situations related to the target culture. Number 2, the culture capsule, in which students condense all the information they find about the target culture according to their tastes and value system. Number 3, culture clusters, in which the students take different ceremonies related to the culture target, like weddings, religious ceremonies, birthday celebrations, and other events, acting according to the event. Quiz, the quizzes. A quiz where the teacher also reviews specific information that is going to be related to the target culture. Multiple options questions and open answers to test specific knowledge in a specific field from the culture. Drama representations and plays are always a good option. Take, for example, different soap operas, TV productions, and movies coming from the target culture. Look to specific characteristics and cues and represent an alternative scene using the correct vocabulary and grammar structures that are coherent with the setting proposed. Problem-solving strategies and critical incidents. The students will create everyday situations based on how the people from the target culture are. Very polite, warm, cold, friendly, distant, rude. It's probably clear that we will be working using prejudices, information from internet. So the solution for this will be information that pictures one side of the behavior and other information that pictures the opposite behavior to create a balanced mix of the culture behavior that we are targeting to develop. The culture quest aims to find the similarities between the own culture and the target culture and create situations where the cultures find a reflection point to hang on to and share without problems different events and create bonds and relationships among the cultures. Okay, the conclusion here could be that teaching culture is a crucial part of the language teaching itself, due to the impossibility of unlinking these two elements. Language, when used with the country, when used within the country in which is native, has to follow certain rules, events, and situations that are specific to the culture. Let's take English for example. It is known to be a global language, which means that it could be used by people that belong from different cultures, different from the actual English-speaking cultures, like a Thai person and a Colombian person. They don't share a lot of cultural features, but beyond this, they can communicate through English. Now, when we encounter ourselves interacting with people from actual English-speaking societies, whether it's within the country or with people from that society. It is important to be clear, open, flexible, and respectful to apply the language and the communication in a proper way. So basically, learning culture and teaching culture is pretty important, and we have to have different strategies that cover different situations, because situations is what the everyday life is made of. And basically, language is the expression of the human relationship with reality, and an outcome from this relationship with reality is culture. So knowing a little bit about culture, like for example manners, different greets, different farewells, maybe the basic stuff when eating, when going to a restaurant, when asking for favors, and how to develop trust with the foreigners. That's very important, not just knowing the language. That's just the first part. The second part is to develop a globalized mindset. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your time. I hope this was useful for you, and I enjoy pretty much doing all this presentation. Thank you.